Oh my God, this is episode 6.
Congratulations.
I know, I'm so excited. I didn't think that we would do episode 6.
And now you here.
I know. I literally was like, we're gonna do 3 and I'm done. I'm I'm not speaking. But
And then you get on a roll.
yeah, everyone loves to hear me speak. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I appreciate you for coming to
Of
speak to
course. I
me.
appreciate you inviting me.
No, yeah, I think it's crazy how we met. Definitely shout out to Meta,
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah. The gram
The gram
keeps us connected.
keeps us connected.
Yeah.
I seen your story that you had just finished chemo on social media, and I was like, let me salute this king. And I reached out to you, and you reached back, and we've had a friendship since. So
Yeah.
thank you.
No, it was beautiful just to
Yeah,
hear someone reach out,
yeah,
not knowing one another, and
yeah,
just, yeah, feeling like, damn, there's a friendship here that's come from
yeah,
that. It's really dope.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So today, this is episode number 6, Yee from the Bay Area, live and direct. We have Jonel here, who is an entrepreneur, also a business consultant, digital production. I would say the god of the camera. They have their own entourage. I'll allow you to introduce yourself because I think you guys' visuals are dope as beep. Can't say it, but yeah, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Britt. Jonel, yeah. Business consultant, been in the consulting world for about 10 years. I currently work in design strategy, so I help companies think about how they transform and grow through digital and physical products. Outside of work, I work as a strategist for Grand National, which is a local collective of artists, musicians, helping on music projects, helping on experiences. And then aside from that, I run my own brand called Uplifters, which is really centered around uplifting Black creatives and Black folks through art, media, and design.
How did you get into that? What gave you the vision to do Uplifters?
So growing up in high school, I always thought I wanted to start my own clothing brand.
Mhm.
So I did art classes, I took cartooning, I did calligraphy, um, and that was just as a hobby. And then I remember one day my mom picked up one of those Hanes software design
Mhm.
packages with like the
Mhm.
t-shirt, and you print it
Mhm.
out and you iron on it.
Yeah.
And so that was really the start of me getting into like applying art to material.
Okay.
And in college, I did things like print design and as a hobby because like my major and my minor were history and poli sci. So I've always been able to like have art be something that's just been a passion. And
Yeah.
over time, over the last, 6 or 7 years, I wanted to really create a brand that I think represented me as a human being and the people that I work with and the community that I'm a part of. And that's really how Uplifters started, was
Yeah.
taking just my experience here and then all the things that drew me to art and applying it together.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's super dope. I love that. I think I love the part that you said you were able to be creative.
Hmm.
Because most people, when they like are in college and they decide a major, they're not able to separate the two
Hmm.
to be creative. So you majored in your major, but then you also started Uplifters, which is your creative brand. I think that's dope.
Yeah, no, it's been just an outlet for me to be able to, one, express what I enjoy.
Yeah.
But also I've had to find that it it's important that I have a 9 to 5. So
Yeah.
that fuels this passion project that I
Yeah.
have. And now it's become a thing where like people recognize me for the work that I do, and
Yeah.
that's validating in itself. And I get to continue doing that through collaborations with other people. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like that entrepreneurial spirit that I think carries throughout the Bay, where like people don't just do one thing. They're
Yeah.
multifaceted, they're
Yeah.
multi-hyphenated, they do
Yeah.
a lot of different things, and
Yeah.
I'm glad to say that I'm one of those people.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. So, how old were you when you got diagnosed with cancer?
So I was 37.
Okay.
It was January of 2023, so last year.
Last year.
Yeah,
We're like quick in years.
we're quick in years. Yeah,
Yeah, we're like 1 year in.
1 year in.
Yeah.
So I had been experiencing like digestive problems for about a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
I usually go to the doctor for annual checkups every year.
Yeah.
But something was off, and every time I saw my primary, they kept saying, "Well, maybe it's hemorrhoids or maybe it's this, and you should try this." And so I did those things, the Metamucil, the working out, the eating better, like, I've just always done that.
Yeah.
Um, but the symptoms were a lot more severe than that. It was,
Yeah.
dark blood, it was
Yeah.
a weird smell,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to fully pass a stool, and so throughout that year, I just kept going back, and finally, through the encouragement of, like, my mom, my lady, and my sister, all 3 Black women, they
Yeah.
just like, "Yo, you better go take care of yourself."
Yeah.
Um, they were like, "Go to the doctor. You need to just put it up put 2 on 10 on this one, like, just tell them like, 'Yo, something's off.'"
Yeah.
So I did that. I went to a different doctor at Kaiser, and they basically set me up for a hemorrhoid procedure because they thought it was internal hemorrhoids.
Okay.
Um, and luckily, when I went in for that hemorrhoid procedure, this was like my first interaction with a Black doctor,
Yeah.
Dr. Ajay. He's a colorectal surgeon at Kaiser, and I'm doing the hemorrhoid procedures like, "Yo, something's off. I'm gonna stop. I don't think it's hemorrhoids. I need you to come back and we're gonna do a sigmoidoscopy, which is it's not so as intense as a colonoscopy, but
Okay.
it's a observation that looks at your rectum.
Okay.
You come in and the doctors put a scope in,
Okay.
and so he had me come in the following week, and after doing the observation, he just asked me to put my clothes on and said, "Meet me in my office." And whenever you hear "meet
Yeah.
me in my office," it's not the best
Yeah.
news.
Yeah.
So he's like, "We found a mass.
Yeah.
I pulled a biopsy. In my opinion, it might be something,
Yeah.
but I don't want to scare you. I should have results in like the next week."
Yeah.
So January 28th, which was 3 days later, was a Monday. I'm in the shower getting ready for work. I usually have my phone in the shower with me.
Yeah.
I see a 510 number and I'm like, all right, I got to answer this.
Yeah.
And it was Dr. Ajay, and he's like, I regret to inform you, but it is cancer. Um, and kind of the world just went still at that
Still.
moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was like, "We're gonna need to have you do a bunch of things in the next few days. Like, we need to start triaging for this because
Yeah.
now we're working in reverse. Usually, you
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
colonoscopy and you find something. This was like, oh, I knew something was off. They
Yeah.
were like, okay, come in. So like within 24 hours, I went into the hospital, CT scan, MRI, um, and yeah, we were able to get a diagnosis on it pretty quickly. But it was a surreal moment because I was just
Wow.
like,
Everything is
damn.
happening so fast.
For real, for real. So
Yeah.
it's like, am I gonna live?
Yeah.
I'm damn, you just start thinking about all the people that you know that have like dealt with something similar,
Yeah.
and
And the
that
stories
was
you
in
hear.
the stories you hear, and you're like, damn, is that gonna be my story?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was January 28th, and I started treatment March 11th of
Oh wow. Yeah, they move
2023. It
fast.
moved pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
aggressively because you're
aggressive.
young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So yeah, it was a year ago, a little over a year ago, and we did all the things.
Yeah.
Got second opinions from other doctors
Yeah.
because with this type of cancer, um, they typically will sometimes remove parts of the rectum so
Okay.
that they can ensure that cancer doesn't is like they have a better likelihood of cancer not
Yeah.
returning. So
Yeah.
we wanted to get second opinions on that because there's a lot of other complications that
Yeah.
result from that, like
Yeah.
colostomy bag,
Yeah.
reproductive organs,
Yeah. Yeah.
end up getting impacted. So like I had to work and get
Yeah.
consultation around all of that.
Yeah.
Had the sperm bank in like less than
Oh, so you had to, yeah. I
yeah,
did
yeah,
fertility.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was the
fertility.
first thing they made me do was fertility.
Yeah.
Like, let's harvest those eggs,
Mhm.
injections every day in the stomach for 14 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they make you went through the same process.
I went through a similar process, like, but I think I didn't get to get him as many rounds in as
Yeah.
possible, just because in the scheduling and the time, I only had like 1 day to really
Oh, wow.
um do a sperm banking.
Yeah.
So I did it like right the day before I started my treatment. I
Yeah.
literally went into Berkeley's
Yeah.
facility and did that, and yeah, I went through that process.
They
And
started you off pretty aggressively then,
yeah, they
pretty
did.
fast.
Yeah, so I did 5 weeks of daily chemo
Yeah,
radiation. So the radiation was like a 10-minute
yeah,
thing where
yeah,
you go in daily.
yeah.
And then I took oral chemo. So I had these pills that I would take Monday through Friday
They took
at
oral chemo. Yeah,
the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And
yeah,
that was intense.
yeah,
And then there was like a 2 week, no, 2 month um pause
hmm,
between radiation and then
yeah.
chemo. So
Chemotherapy.
yeah, chemotherapy because they had to put a port in, which
Yeah.
was
Oh, you had a
intense.
port.
I had a port. Yeah.
Where was your
My
port?
port was in the left side of
Yeah,
my chest,
yeah.
or on the right side of my
Right
chest.
side of your chest. Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Yeah,
Yeah, so I had a port put in, and then I would go through biweekly treatments for 3 hours. I'd sit in
yeah,
the oncology unit, and do a 3-hour session, of infusion, and then from there, they would hook me up to another chemo that I would
yeah.
go home with, and I'd wear it in a fanny pack for, like, another 72 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got diagnosed?
I was 37.
37.
Yeah.
37 years old. Was it hereditary?
No, so we also did testing, so we did genetic testing, we did a number of tests just to kind of figure out where it came from.
Yeah,
They weren't able to determine that. They could be a variety of things: diet, nutrition, environment. They
yeah,
kinda ruled out all of those things.
yeah,
Um, I think it was just one of those random cases that I was hit with,
yeah,
but it allowed me to start the conversation in our family. Like,
yeah,
my siblings have kids, my nieces and nephews, so, like, just the conversation around, like, this is happening to their uncle and to their brother,
yeah,
and I think allowed for us to, like, get on top of, like, doing the things that we need to, and having
yeah,
the conversation around what's happening in our family in
yeah,
terms of health, and, like, the kids now knowing, like, they have
yeah,
this biological connection to something like this. So
yeah.
just so that we can, if ever the case in the future they had to deal with something, at least they know, like, their uncle had to, had something like this, and they can inform their doctors of that.
Yeah, I think it's something we don't talk about in the Black home. I think that happened to me like originally when I got diagnosed and I did my genetic test, they were like, does anyone in your family have breast cancer? I'm like, no,
Mhm.
no, my mom doesn't have it. My grandmother does. Like, no, no one has it. Right. And then as time progressed, my dad was like, yeah, your grandmother had a brain aneurysm,
Mm.
which means that she suffered from stress,
Mhm.
just being a Black woman and stressing.
Mhm.
Then my aunt, her sister, died from breast cancer. It's just that back in the 90s, you had it was it for it, right? We weren't we weren't educated on our resources and a
Mhm.
lot of us didn't have medical insurance, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely important that you guys were able to have that conversation.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's been a good one. I've had conversations with elders in the family who are dealing with similar things, and
Yeah.
so being able to have that relationship, like, restored in a way where it's like the catalyst is cancer, but it's like now they're checking on me, and we're
Yeah.
having, like, really good conversations. Like, my mom and my dad, they live in the East Coast,
Yeah.
so they would call me every single day because they're like, their baby boy
Wow.
is dealing with this. So
Yeah.
I think my relationship with my dad, we've always been close, but, like,
Yeah.
that vulnerability that
It
you see
grew.
from it grew, yeah, like,
Yeah.
seeing him as a man really express his fear with
Yeah.
me, and, like, just expressing his love for me,
Yeah.
um, was really beautiful. But we were just able to have these really, I think, authentic conversations
Yeah.
about just everything, and, like,
Yeah.
them wanting to remind me, like, "Yo, you're doing great, like,
Yeah.
we're really proud of you, how strong you are." Um, yeah, and just having that feeling of, like, something like this so traumatizing can be, the catalyst for, like, really blossoming relationships in my family.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that it definitely allows you to nourish the relationships that you didn't think were there.
Mhm.
Like you see them blossom and they're there, right?
Mhm.
How do you feel it affected you as far as like work and like your work ethic, like going through a diagnosis and then like having, scheduled work? Like
Mhm.
you were like an artist and like I feel like as an artist your artistry is like based on like you feeling good inside, right? And
Mhm.
have these visual these visual views, right? But then if you're going through chemotherapy and you're not feeling emotional good, like how
Mm.
did that affect you during your art?
No, that's a great question. I mean, so from a work standpoint, it was, I think, a blessing that I was able to continue working. Like,
Yeah.
I needed some level of a distraction. Like, I
Yeah.
think if I had sat in my treatment and just the day to day of that, I think I would have gone stir crazy.
Yeah.
So work was good. I mean, my colleagues were very supportive. People allowed me and gave me the grace to go to sessions or do this and break away from the day to day work. And I can't say how grateful I am for that. Um, c- Creative wise, I mean, my crew, Grand National, like more than a crew, we're a family. So they would come by and just check on me. Like I talk to them almost every day, either through group chat or they just coming by and dropping off care packages, along with a myriad of friends. But I think the creative part, I think I needed to take a step back and
Yeah.
just let myself be in the space of like grief and
Yeah.
taking care of myself.
Yeah.
So I like really led into like going to therapy sessions and working with my therapist for the entire time I was going through treatment
Yeah.
with him. Like he gifted me every single session
Yeah.
on the house, and I can't say enough about that. But in terms of like art, I wasn't really focused on art. Like I would try to give my input when the crew was working on things, but they like were just like, "Yo, we need you to be good." So
And
I leaned
rest.
into that and rest. And so when I popped out in the streets, everybody would be really excited.
Yeah.
But it was more so like, yeah, I'm not really tripping on art right now. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna just focus on this, and when I'm done with it, I'm gonna get back to the art, and that's where we are now. It's like
Yeah.
I've just been hitting the ground running.
Right.
So
Like,
yeah, yeah, I didn't feel like I was once I knew the diagnosis that I would survive, I was like,
yeah.
all right, I could put some things on hold for right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna just handle this business and
Yeah.
then the other stuff will sort itself out.
Yeah. What would you recommend for other black men as far as health and you just being consistent about, something doesn't feel right.
Hmm.
Like what would you recommend if like another black man feels something and they're like, "Damn, should I go in? Should I not go in?"
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, shoot. For me it's easy. You gotta go in, right?
yeah.
Like I think every person that I've spoken to, I've just said, if you're feeling off, you should go get it checked out.
Yeah.
Um, and I live by that. Like I think that's the reason why I'm here today is like I took a proactive approach, and so I think it's okay to have these vulnerable conversations. I had a number of people that reached out to me and was like, "Yo, do you mind talking with me for a second? I've been experiencing some symptoms," and
Yeah.
so the conversations were a lot more vulnerable with
Yeah.
the men that I know and that reached
Yeah.
out to me. I had a plenty of elders, black men. I mean, I wasn't super open about like my treatment. I would let people know like, hey, this is what I'm going through, but like
Yeah.
the stages that I was going through, I really didn't share that part. But I
Yeah.
also met a lot of elders that had gone through it and didn't tell anybody. Like,
Yeah.
and they asked me out of confidence not to share kind of
Yeah.
their journey, and I was
Yeah.
just like, wow, like there's just a progression here where it's like the older generation wants to be seen a certain way.
Yeah.
Our generation, I think, we're a little bit more open.
Yeah.
Um, One of my best friends is currently going through treatment right now, and like just hearing him as we talk go through his process and then also seeing him sharing like laying on the radiation bed and doing all those
Yeah.
things I think is super dope. So I
Yeah.
think it gives people a little bit more sense of humanity around it because
Yeah.
they're going through it, but it also lets people know like this is happening to all of us. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't feel like you're on an island
Yeah. And you're alone,
and you're alone.
right? You
Yeah.
should definitely feel like you have a community.
Yeah.
Especially amongst like being, minority African American,
Hmm.
like you should have a community. And I feel like it's something that we don't talk about our health, right? It's
Right.
like we're kind of like cliche
Yeah.
taught to like, don't tell your age,
Yeah.
don't talk about your health.
Yeah.
But I think that is definitely dope that, you shared it with on social media because I connected with you
Hmm.
and I was like, wait, it's a black man. Like, okay, King.
Yeah.
So I definitely thank you for like reaching out and even being vulnerable with me because you didn't have to do that,
Yeah.
right? And then we created a brother and sisterhood. And
Yeah.
so I definitely appreciate that. What was your favorite things to take during chemo?
What do you mean take? Like medicine?
Like, what would you do? Like, do you watch videos? Would you watch
Yeah.
movies? Did you take like a ginger candy? Like, what was your
Yeah.
favorite things? Like
So
your must-have chemo bag?
yeah. So it's weird. Like when I went through treatment, like the saline when
Yeah.
they would clean the port, like made me nauseous. So ginger
Yeah.
chews were big.
Yeah.
Until a point where like even the ginger chews made me sick. So I
Yeah.
was like, um, I was open minded. Like I luckily had a care team that was pretty open minded and progressive. So like they suggested edibles, CBD. So
Yeah.
I did that for like
Yeah.
sleep and nausea.
Yeah.
But my main thing, like I wasn't able to have like spicy food. I couldn't have cold
Oh
drinks.
yeah, I know.
So
Yeah.
like I think the best thing to have like when I was going through treatment and like kind of the medicine ran through me was like ice cream. Like
Yeah,
it
ice
was
cream.
yeah, like some
That's
banana
funny.
Oreo ice cream was
Yeah.
like
My friend Aramome, actually, Dage's sister,
uh-huh.
she's literally like a couple of years behind me, and she would tell me like after chemo, like ice cream treats
Yeah,
were her favorite. Yeah.
totally. Totally. Like it would take a few days, but like once I had some ice cream, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm okay." But
Yeah.
yeah, the hard part was not having spicy food.
Yeah, that was the
Like
hardest part, right?
most of the food was bland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just white rice.
Not even white rice, but like if you wanted like chicken, it was just like I
Yeah.
gotta just eat it with the flavor that it has, and I'm like, yeah. I
It's
grew up in
just
a Caribbean,
bland.
yeah, I grew up in a Caribbean household, so like
Oh
spicy food
yeah.
is normal. So
Oh no, yeah, it was no spicy food for you during that time.
none whatsoever. And my
Hen
body, when I did it,
Okay, so
paid a
hence
price.
why you thought when the hemorrhoids thing happened, because normally when you come from a Caribbean or ethnic family where the spices are desired in the household, if they told you you had hemorrhoids, you thought you had hemorrhoids.
Yeah, I did. I thought I did, but then at a certain point, like the symptoms grew, so I knew something was off. So like even when
Yeah,
they were telling me, I was like skeptical. I was like, y'all really don't know what you're talking about,
yeah,
and I was right, but
yeah,
I just had to really press them to get to
yeah,
that point.
yeah. Did you work on any special projects during your treatment?
I did. So I got to work on part of Grand National. Kevin Allen and Monty Draper put out a project called Every Blue Moon.
Okay.
Um, I didn't get to do too much work on it. I think I was helped with a little bit about like the creative strategy and the
Yeah.
sequencing.
Yeah.
Um, I also got to consult on a few other projects that we've been working
Yeah.
on, but I would say a lot of the creative took a real pause.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. What advice would you give to any young man that's been recently diagnosed with any form of cancer?
Yeah, I would say that it's okay to open up to people in your life.
Yeah.
Um, accept the help.
Yeah.
Um, it's not weak to say you need something.
Yeah.
Um, I've definitely took full advantage of people dropping off care packages, the
Yeah.
DoorDash, gift cards. Those things came in at amazing times. Like I knew I didn't know my appetite all the time, so
Yeah.
like
That's
a
the
gift
hardest part.
card was great, and I think people appreciated that they can
Yeah.
help in any way. So I think to any person, young person, older person, like it's okay to share and like allow yourself to be taken care of by others that care for you.
Yeah. No, definitely. One more question.
Hmm.
What is your pet peeve?
What is my pet peeve?
Yeah. What is your pet peeve? What is something that no one knows about you that is your pet peeve? I always ask this question when you come to Black Girls Cancer Club.
Half-ass attempts.
I like that one.
Yeah, like if you, it's all
Say,
about having intention, but like
yeah.
if you don't follow through, I start to like really question whether or not I'm gonna rely on you or not.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because life is too short for us, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Like if you say no or you can't do it, but don't be
yeah,
like, yeah, we got this. And then
yeah.
like,
So just so we can announce this challenge, because half-ass attempts. We're gonna have our baseball tournament, Grand National versus Black Girls Cancer Club. I hope you're ready for
I'm
us.
ready.
Cause I be that
Yeah.
little swing.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's
We
go.
get jerseys, all that.
Oh, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. So
Yeah,
that's our announcement,
for
right?
sure. For
That's our
sure. We got an
announcement.
announcement. Yeah, Grand
Right.
National happily accepts. I'm
Yes.
accepting on our behalf.
You're accepting on your behalf.
Yeah.
Great. I love that.
Yeah.
So what was your number one song like that you listened through treatment that just like what was your song? Because we're gonna do our outro
Man.
to that song. We're gonna me and you are gonna dance off that song.
So it's probably um Count Me Out by Kendrick on Mr. Morale and the Half Steppers.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna play
Okay.
that. Okay.
Dope.
Well, I thank you for coming to speak with Black Girls Cancer Club.
Thank
I
you.
definitely appreciate you. I honor you. I commend you for being a Black man and just being vulnerable and telling your story because I think it's something that we don't talk about often. And so I commend you for being my first Black male guest on Black Girls Cancer Club.
Thank you. And I hope to be a part of many more.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.